Hi everyone, my name is Trang, and today I want to present about my capstone project. So, the question I'm gonna answer today is the real one for myself. That is, should I continue studying business through MBA or switch a different field like healthcare or health administrator or education or enter the workforce full time? So I'm going to walk you through how I frame this decision, the framework I used to analyze it, and the final choice that I had made. And using the same tools that we learned in this course, so my presentation gonna go through seven section. So the first one I will talk about frame the decision. The second one I will look at the context and influence around it, like including my bias and risk tolerance. And third one I will apply the three decision making framework. And the fourth I will compare my option using the multi-criteria decision analysis. And the fifth one I will share my final decision and my plans, and the sixth one is reflect what I have learned. And finally, I will reconnect these insight to how organization may change. So, let's start with the first part is framing the decisions. So, as I get close to finish my BBA, I have three real options in front of me. So, the option A is to continue to an MBA, like build building the directly in the business knowledge I already have, or the option B is that to switch field like entirely different with what I studying now in something more in demand like healthcare, health administration, or education. And the option C is enter the workforce like full-time first to gain practical experience and decide on the further school later. So it is a real and consequential decision because it's gonna affect my career direction, my finance, and several years of my life. So it's worth analyzing properly, not just only guessing about it. So, uh, why this decision matter now. So let me give you some context that my background is that I almost finished my BBA with concentration in hospitality management at Douglas College, and I currently working at a as a office administrator at 80 supermarket, like where is the coordinating accounting, purchasing, receiving warehouse, and the store operations. And I also have like a previous hospitality experience from Walt Disney World Resort. So I have a really solid mix of the operational and business skills. So why is urgent for me? Because like my BBA is ending, so I can't put this decision off any longer. Because it's if I waiting longer, uh like I may risk missing employment opportunity or the program application deadline. Or my constraint is that the first one is money, is the tuition fee, and possible the student loans. And the second one is the time that application window for the next semester and the opportunity cost. Like every month that I spend studying is a month that I am not earning any salary from working. So, section part section the next section I'm gonna talk about analyzing the context and influence that for the internal. I want to keep improving my knowledge and skill like my long-term career goal by wanting that the financial stability, but for externally, I influenced by the job market in the Vancouver, the like a border economy and the industrial trends in business, healthcare, and education, and honestly, like my family expectation as well. And in this decision, it's not just only affect me, but I also map out my key stakeholders, myself, like who has lived with the outcome, and my family who gonna give me the support and also have expectation on me, and Douglas College who gonna give me the abiding and credit for this, and my future employers, like who will judge like whatever pathway that I'm gonna choose. So, for bias and risk, now something that I have to be really honest with myself about my own bias. For for the first one is the confirmation bias that I noticed that I tend to only look for the information that support my choice that I already like instead of like the full picture of it. And for the stated quo bias, like I'm comfortable with my current job. So part of me want to just like stay on it, even like if that's not like the best long-term move. But for the availability bias, like I can get too influenced by one story, like for example, my friend's MBA success instead of just looking in the real data. And actually, I noticed that there's some confirmation bias pattern in my life is in a much smaller decision. Like when I was researching for buying a car, I realized that I was only looking for information that confirming that I should buy this one. And so there's a real pattern for me that not just a theory. And as a risk, like my risk tolerance is at the moderate level, so I can accept like some short-term risk, but because I have a financial responsibility, so I want a reasonably secure path. Like the key risks that I weighted here are like loan repayment risk, like when I taking an MBA, or the skill that will not maybe like not match risk if I switch field, and some risk if I just stay like where I am too long. So for the next part, that is the evidence-based decision making. So uh so this one I'm bringing to applying structure decision making framework. So I'm gonna use three one that's uh EBDM, the system thinking and subsystem methodology. So let's start with the evidence-based decision making. So what data inform my choice? So I look at the labor market outlook for BC and Canada across the business, healthcare, and education. And I compare the average salary and the return on investment data from MBA graduate like versus with the healthcare and education role. And I also look at the program cost, length, and admission requirement. And I own performance data for my current job. And how did I assess the quality of the evidence? So I stuck to the credible, well-known source and the same standard that I used for coursework, like HBR, McKinsey, and like some other like government labor report that I also cross-check the number across the multiple source instead of just only one article, and I prioritize like reason like Canada Pacific data over generic global statistic. And for the second framework is the system thinking that my decision it doesn't happen. It's like isolation. So it's part of the loop that work experience build my skill and confidence. It lead to better career opportunity and financial stability. So financial stability also increase my readiness to the fund that I'm gonna study, like which will be back into more work experience or education. So this like reinforcement loop is also a balancing loop that the longer I spend for the working, the more opportunity cost build up for the delaying school. So which eventually pushing me to act. And the framework number three that I use is the soft system methodology that I use this because for my family, my employers, and I may all see all these experience differently. I use the framework to capture every perspective that is for the customer, that is myself, my family, like who benefit for the outcome. The actor is myself, my advisor, and my employers, and also my transformation that going from an undecided graduate to a professional with a clear path, and also the worldview that is a stable, meaningful career is achievable through the right mix of education and experience. So, owner is me that I will make the final decisions, and the environment is the Canadian job market, tuition fee costs, and family expectation. So comparing my option, so I list like these four options with the some status quo that staying as I am or doing MBA or switching field or like working first and then decided later. So I score one against six criteria. That's career development, financial cost, achieve time to achieve, match with the interest and risk level, job stability, and then after that I'm gonna weigh thing and scoring everything like work first and decided later gonna come the highest one, which have the 3.75 over the rest one, like followed by the status coast and then switching field and then MBA. But there's not just a fixed answer, but I also look at a trade-off and sensitivity. So if I weigh the career go more heavily, the MBA option will close the gap fast. But if the economic suddenly like become worse, so workforce will win by like even bigger margin. And if I somehow got a guaranteed scholarship, like my MBA scholarship will jump and could like actually change my final answer. So my final decision and implementation still a plan that is uh my decision is like I could keep working full time in my current operation and administration role for the next 1 or 2 years, like while actively preparing for my graduate study rather than like immediately committing to like an MBA or switching field. It it justified by MCDA result by a lower financial risk in the near term and because it's keep the MBA or health administration a door open once I have clear evidence and stronger finance. So here's my implementation plans that in the next 6 months I will finish my BBA and take and start researching about my MBA and healthcare and our education administration program. And then between 6 and 12 months I will build a saving like preserve performance-based advancement and connect with a professional in my target field. And in year two, I will one more like reassess, like either apply to a program if my goal and finance line up, or negotiate advance with my current path. And as a contingency, if a job market shift or my role stall, I will speed up the timeline and apply sooner using like my emergency fund or flexibility. So for the next part is the reflection. Like what did I learn about my own decision making? That I learned that I really do lean toward like my confirmation bias and status quo bias. Um, like favoring like what I feel safe and more familiar, like which I saw like clearly even is something as a small like buying a car, even like learning that structure framework like uh EBDM or MCDA that forced me to seriously considering option that I would otherwise push up to quickly. And mapping my stakeholder remind me to this decision affect my family too, not just me. And I will also set my decision and what I will do next is that I will set my decision criteria before I start researching. So not after. So I will not have a unconsciously bias my own search. And I ask my advisor and my professionals for like input like earlier. And it's pre mortem that imagine how each option could fail like sooner before I get emotionally attached to one choice. And for the next part is the organizational connection. So here's a real example that uh for a grocery store that they can deciding to whether expanding to like e-commerce or delivery. They have a lot of option like install stay in store only or partner with a third party for delivery service or build their own app or just do like a hybrid option. So this decision to will benefit from the exact same tools that I use. So we're gonna weigh the cost, the demand, the operational risk by using NCBA, the system thinking to map how staffing, inventory, supply chain, like all these back into each other, and the stakeholder are crossing like purchasing, warehouse, and store management. So these how these complexity and stakeholder engagement compare. So for my personal decision involved with the four stakeholder, a company decision like this involved like employee across department, supplier, customer, and ownership. And because there are more like many more people and interests involved, so the organization will rely much more heavily on the formal structure method like SSM and NCDA to build a consensus where I could get away a lighter and more personal choice. And what would change if there were a collective decision that I would need like former governments like proposal budgets approved and the document criteria so people can are like accountable and a real process to build in across department like in short, much longer, the more political process than my individual decisions. So that's my capstone project. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm happy to answer any question that you have. Thank you.